Welcome to Quah Order, Issaquah PD's very own podcast. I'm your host, Community Resource Officer Alex Helms, and today we have an informative interview with Traffic Unit Corporal Fulbright. But first, let's find out what Patrol has been doing in the crime blotter. IPD officers responded to a motorcycle crash at Front Street South and Southeast Bush Street. When they arrived, they found the crash and gave aid to the rider. Eastside Fire and Medic 1 got there soon after and took over. The rider was taken to Harborview Medical Hospital because of how serious the injuries were. Witnesses said the rider tried to pass stopped traffic by using the center lane but hit a curb in the median at a high rate of speed. While on patrol, an IPD officer found a Ford Focus that had been spray painted black, but the license plate was registered to a green Ford Focus. While checking it out, they found info about a woman who had been seen walking away from the car. A record check showed that she had a misdemeanor warrant from the Snoqualmie Police Department for reckless driving and not obeying an officer with a bail at $30,000. Officers found her, arrested her, and booked her into Issaquah City Jail. She also tried to pretend she was someone else and claimed she had taken illegal drugs to avoid going to jail. Because of this, she was taken to the hospital, something officers are trained to do. The hospital confirmed that she hadn't taken any drugs, so after being cleared, she was taken to the jail for the original warrant and the new charges. Also, someone called IPD saying they found a bag of body parts while hiking near the creek on Northwest Sammamish Road. Officers went with the person to check it out, but after searching the area, the officers didn't find any body parts at all. However, they checked the person's background and they found out there was a felony warrant for their arrest. So, the person was arrested and taken to Score Jail. National Night Out is just around the corner. National Night Out is a nationwide event that brings neighbors, police officers, and community organizations together to build stronger and safer communities. Join us on August 5th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. on the back steps of the police department for an evening of fun and connection. Meet your local IPD officers, see a demo from the King County Search and Rescue Canines, meet a Washington State Patrol Commercial Vehicle Division Trooper, and get to know the people who live and work in your community. National Night Out is all about building trust, fostering relationships, and standing together for a safer, more united community. More information can be found on the Issaquah Police Department Facebook page. We hope to see you out there. Today on the podcast, we have Corporal Matt Fulbright with the Issaquah Police Traffic Unit. Matt, thank you for coming on the podcast to talk all things traffic and traffic safety.
You're welcome.
So tell us about yourself. What's your background? How did you get here?
I've been in law enforcement 19 years this month. And traffic, I was first in traffic in 2018, was the first stint. Usually get in there by, showing that you like traffic. You stop lots of cars, maybe write lots of tickets, take a passion in it, which I did. I applied for it, tested for it, and got it internally. And did that for a couple years until staffing in our department got a little bit low. I went through a motor school and got on a motorcycle, so I was doing that pretty consistently all year round, all weather. Yes, even in the rain, we have lots of good gear, and so it may not look great, but we get through it, and it's still fun, believe it or not. Since then, I've had numerous trainings in traffic accident investigation, became a standardized field sobriety test instructor. So I teach our agency on top of other agencies in the state on how to conduct field sobriety tests and how to do them properly. What else do I do? I also instruct speed measuring devices. So for speed, radar, LiDAR devices, I train other officers on how to do that. So yeah, it's a bit about my background.
Yeah, but you're also a drone pilot, right?
I am a drone pilot as well, yes. I figured for investigating, significant crashes to get overhead views and video mapping of that would help me drastically. And so, yes, I got my Part 107 and am a drone pilot as well.
So what are your primary duties as the traffic officer?
As the traffic officer in our city, I enforce traffic laws as well as municipal laws on, for instance, truck routes. On Front Street, it's an old road, smaller infrastructure, and so anything that's 15,000 gross vehicle weight rating as a truck is not really allowed on our front street, unless they are doing a local delivery. So I enforce that. I mean, other applicable laws. And when I'm not doing those things, if there are traffic-related calls for service, such as accidents, vehicles that break down and block the roadway, creating a hazard, hit and runs, any traffic-related calls that happen on streets, I usually respond to.
Okay. So what does your normal day look like?
My normal day, well, you're always at the whim of the public, depending on accidents and all that stuff. So you just never know if it's going to be a traffic accident day or not, or if people are going to break down or not. But I usually have from the public, whether online complaints or a general understanding doing the job so long, problem areas in our city. And so I do emphasis where I go up, whether it's stop signs, whether it's speed issues. There's always speed issues in neighborhoods or certain corridors around our city. I will set up and try to emphasize that.
Okay. So what violations do you see the most?
Definitely speeding, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you determine which vehicles you're going to stop?
Good question. It seems like as the years have gone by, more people are speeding even at higher speeds than they used to. And so, I know there's a question down the road on, myths of law enforcement and what we'll stop for and how fast you can go over the speed limit. But cars are now traveling. I mean, it's consistently to be 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, sometimes 15 or 20 over. For me, looking at more, if it's a residential area, let's say 25 miles per hour, if you're 10 or more over, that's pretty fast. It doesn't take much for a kid crossing the roadway, a ball's in the roadway, people out walking around their dogs, whatever, right? That creates a significant risk to people in the neighborhood. That the greater speed that you have, the longer it takes for you to stop. On top of your reaction time, you're behind the 8 ball already. The higher corridor speeds like, East Lake Sammamish Parkway, Issaquah Falls City, that are 40 mile per hour roadways, I may give, 15 miles per hour or more on that, depending, right? But in the residential, I usually keep it at 10 or more over, because that's more of a safety issue, especially if people are out walking. I pay attention to that kind of stuff. Is there more risk to people that are out cycling, bicyclists as well, right? We're a very cyclist-friendly town. I keep those things in mind as well.
Gotcha. What are common misconceptions people have about traffic enforcement?
Quotas, right? Like, you're just out trying to get a quota. No, we don't have quotas anymore. It's a lot of discretion where the officer gets to pick and choose. And I kind of went over what stuff I kind of focus on that I'll stop violators for. And then there's a lot of, it depends. What is their history, right? If they've gotten 3 speeding tickets in the last year and I stop them for speeding, are they really learning their lesson? No, they're not, right? Or if they've got a very good record and they maybe are 12 over and they seem to understand what they did was wrong, maybe they do need a break and they don't need a ticket, right? So we're not making money off of tickets necessarily. That's another thing on top of quotas. Oh, you just are supposed to stop so many cars and, this money goes all to you guys. No, that's not true, right? A lot of it goes to the court system and the prosecutors, and there's certain funds that these percentages of these tickets go to. So the fact that I see benefit from it, no, I don't. It's more, what do I feel like is the right thing to do? And yeah, so there's no quotas. All the money doesn't come straight to me in my pocket. That's all a myth, misconception. So also like how you act with an officer, right? Like, if I just admit what I did was wrong, maybe he'll cut me a break. Not necessarily, right? There's so many factors in the totality of circumstances that we use in our profession. It just depends, right? Maybe if I beg for a break, I'll get a break. No, not necessarily. So yes, it always pays to be respectful and just acknowledge what the officer tells you and why you did what you did. But doing other things doesn't necessarily get you in or out of a ticket. Officers look at a lot of different factors to judge what they're going to do.
Gotcha. So one of the things that you do as well is parking enforcement. So do you want to kind of go over the rules and the municipal code around abandoned vehicles and parking on the roadways?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of parking complaints come into our city. We're dealing with a lot of those. For instance, I'll start with abandoned vehicles. So we get lots of people that call in and say, hey, that car's been parked there for like 3 days. It hasn't been moved. Please come deal with it, right? So we do have a 24-hour move it or could be ticketed or towed. Municipal code in our city. It's called all-day parking, and but I use a little bit of discretion with that because, for instance, if I park directly in front of my house, even though I'm on the city street, I'm parked legally otherwise against the curb. I have my tabs up to date. Is it really feasible for every resident in the city to move it every day? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens if you go on vacation? You can't move it daily, right? So I look at circumstances of, does the car look like it's operable? Is it broken down? Is it starting to get weathered? Does it have moss growing out of it? Like those kinds of things. And like, hey, you need to kind of clean up your car and maybe move it. Is it operational? Because public streets are not storage yards. So there's a lot of discretion that goes with that, but yes, we do have a 24-hour ordinance if you park on the city street. Technically, if you have boats, trailers, commercial vehicles, those are not allowed on the public right-of-way. If you have a boat, trailer that you're gonna go camping, we give leeway. There is a 6-hour period if you're loading or offloading, but if you just plan on parking it overnight, you're not really supposed to be doing that. So there are some municipal codes, land use codes that's applicable for. Some other common ones is you're not supposed to park within 15 feet of a fire hydrant, not within 30 feet of a approach of a stop sign. So that way, if it's, let's say it's a 4-way stop or 3-way stop, if people are coming up to it and you're parked right next to the stop sign, is that a safety issue where I can't see another car if it is coming or not, so I can make my turn safely? So there's stuff like that I look for. Parked facing the wrong way, that is a big one I see in our city, where unless it's a one-way roadway, you're always supposed to park on the side facing traffic or with the flow of traffic, if that makes sense. So if your driver's side wheels are up against the curb and you have to cross traffic, right, on a 2-way roadway, it's not safe to do that. So you should park with your passenger side wheels up against the curb. That's another big one that I see that we get complaints constantly about. And then obviously wherever signs tell you you can't park, wherever there is curbs painted yellow, painted red for a fire lane, or posted for a fire lane, or handicap, you shouldn't be parking there as well.
Gotcha. So a question we get a lot is regarding tabs and tabs being expired.
Mm-hmm.
In Issaquah, are tabs a primary offense? Can we stop cars for that, or do we have to stop for another violation?
No, they are a primary offense. You can get stopped for that. And again, right, that's another officer discretion thing. If they're technically, a lot of people don't realize too that tabs actually expire a certain day in the month. So a lot of people think, oh, I have till the end of the month. Actually, if you look on your registration, there's a specific day that it expires. So you should renew it, right, as soon as possible when it expires on that day. A lot of officers will give till the end of the month as a courtesy, right? But just keep that in mind. If you're within a month or two, usually officers will probably, hey, are you aware your tabs are expired? Kind of work with you a little bit, not necessarily write you, but if you're getting on several months, half a year, years expired, you could probably face a ticket, right? And it depends, right? COVID was years ago, so that's not a valid excuse anymore that, you know, I'm not driving my car anymore. I work remotely. Well, if you're driving on the road like everybody else, you got to renew your tabs, so.
Right, and if you've got expired tabs over 45 days and you're parked on a public roadway, your vehicle can be impounded for that, right?
Yes, that is a very good point. So on top of city roadways are not really allowed to be storage yards for cars and never driven, if you don't keep up on your tabs within 45 days, law enforcement can remove it at any point that they wish. So
Gotcha. So stop signs, I don't really have to come to a full stop, do I?
complete stop.
Okay.
I know it seems like a pain, right? Because you're using all that momentum that you had, feeling your vehicle stop and then go. But yes, we're not in California. There's a reason why they're not allowed, right? So yes, complete stops.
Yeah.
And that is a primary offense as well.
Right. But if I'm talking on my cell phone while I'm driving, if I have it on speakerphone and I'm holding it, that's fine, right?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no. You're still distracted holding that in your hand. You're looking down at it. It's not safe. A lot of people are getting those cups or that go onto the windshield or a mount on their dash, right, that can hold it. So I tell people, if you manipulate your phone with your finger, that's okay, but you're not allowed to hold it because it is still a distraction. Even I get a lot of people that are like, well, I was stopped in the roadway at the red light or I'm waiting. That's not an exception. Unless you're calling 911 or you're a commercial vehicle driver calling for business, you're limited to not using it and it needs to be hands-free completely.
Gotcha. What other examples of distracted driving do you have?
Doing my makeup, brushing my teeth, flossing, eating my hamburger, looking down at anything that's in my hands, right? A lot of those are secondary distracted driving offenses. So what I mean by that is you can't get stopped for that alone. An officer has to find tabs or a brake light out, equipment violation, something else. And then if you're distracted driving otherwise, other than a cell phone, like doing your makeup, all those other things, you can get cited for that as well.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people I've seen over the years watching movies while driving.
Yeah.
That's the one that that's my pet peeve. That one
Yeah.
gets me. So, Matt, I just got involved in a collision. What do I do now?
Well, you should definitely make sure you exchange information with the other driver. It's always a good practice to call the police. Our dispatchers are very trained in. It sounds like there's no injuries. It's very minimal damage. If you guys want, and you guys are both cooperative, you guys can fill out your own accident report online with State Patrol. It's not mandatory that an officer comes out every time, right? But if you're having trouble getting information or insurance, because sometimes people don't want to, I barely hit you, I don't have to give you my insurance. If someone's not cooperative, it's always a safe practice to call. An officer and dispatcher can kind of screen, determine whether to come out or not, and we will take the report, help facilitate the exchange for you.
Gotcha. But do I need to stay in the roadway so officers can see like what happened, or how does that work?
No, that's another misconception, right? Like we will gather the evidence from the damage to your cars. If there's any applicable video, we can do a lot and don't necessarily need to stay in the roadway, because if it makes sense, a lot of our roadways that have a lot of traffic in it, we're creating a continued risk to users on the roadway of another accident happening or them hitting you and adding more of a pileup, which we don't need. So if you can safely, even if your airbags were deployed and you're not injured and you're capable, if you can document where you were and then slowly move it off to the shoulder, that would be preferred, like I said, for safety of everyone else around you.
Gotcha. Okay. So Issaquah PD is a member of the King County Target Zero.
Correct.
Can you briefly explain that and what Target Zero is intended for and how that works?
Yeah, so the King County Target Zero program works through the state, and the goal is to get zero related traffic fatalities, right, related to speed, distracted driving, DUIs, right? And so it's a collective effort, not just the King County is specific for King County, but the whole state participates in driving emphasis that's grant money or provided by the state to get out high visibility patrols, stop cars for distracted driving, speed, and DUIs to eliminate. The goal is zero fatalities by a certain year, and they always extend the years because every year goes on. But it's eventually the goal is zero, right? We don't want anyone killed from all these types of related accidents. So by partnering with King County's Target Zero, the Issaquah Police Department gets grant money and basically takes off-duty officers to come in on overtime and work specialty things like speed emphasis, click it or ticket, motorcycle safety, distracted driving, and DUI.
Gotcha. So the hot topic right now around Issaquah is electric bikes, specifically electric dirt bikes.
Yes.
Do you want to explain the difference?
Sure, yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that, because I think everybody calls them e-bikes, but they don't understand that technically, yes, there are electric bicycles, right? And it's easier just to say, oh, it's an e-bike. It's an e-bike. But there are some huge differentiating issues between, a electric bicycle with pedals on it that you can move versus a electric dirt bike, right, that can get up to speeds of 50 miles per hour, usually has pegs instead of bicycle pedals, and is controlled by throttle, right, just like a motorcycle, and has knobby tires usually, right, and they go very fast. So I'll start with electric bicycles. Most people are allowed to ride those. I'll get to some of the exceptions in a minute, but class 1, class 2, they can go on most sidewalks, paths, trails, roadways in the city if they're 25 miles per hour with a helmet on, and helmets are always required in our city for anything that you ride on. And like I said, you can be 14, any age, and that's fine, right? And they only go up to like 20 miles per hour with the assist on the bicycle, have pedals. Class 3 bicycles can get up to speeds of 28 miles per hour. Those you have to be 16 years of age, and they technically shouldn't be on the sidewalks. Those should be on either roadways with bicycle lanes or on paths, okay? And the e-dirt bikes, okay, these are not legal anywhere, unfortunately. I know they're a lot of fun. They're fast. They're torquey. But they are no different than a gas-powered dirt bike. They're just electric-powered, but you would technically need to have your own license for it because of the capabilities of how fast it goes, an endorsement for a motorcycle, certain equipment's on it, license plate, all those things. So a lot of the teenagers nowadays that are getting these, because I get it, they're fun, they're riding them around, but they're completely illegal because they're not of age to have a license. They don't have the training and experience which a license and endorsement would get them to drive those responsibly. And they're cutting off cars, they're cutting off pedestrians, they're riding on sidewalks. It's dangerous for everybody. It's not safe, and it's illegal in all facets. So people will ask me, and I got a call yesterday from a mom, right? Hey, my 14-year-old just got a cool e-dirt bike. Fantastic. What are the rules with it? And I'm so glad they called because I'm like, unfortunately, you got to go in designated areas. And a lot of that is outside of city limits into the county designated dirt bike areas, like if you're camping out in the woods. We just don't have that in our city limits. So as much fun as they are, they're completely illegal, not like I said, just for 14-year-olds, but for anyone unless they have a valid license, valid endorsement, and then they got to have all the equipment things, mirrors, license plate, all the things that come with that.
Yeah. And what are the enforcement repercussions of riding an electric dirt bike on the roadway or in a park or something?
Yeah, majority of them are civil infractions. Parents, if you are willingly letting your kid ride one of these, especially if we can prove you knew that they were illegal and you let them drive it, you could be prosecuted criminally for that, okay? So please don't have your kids doing it. The kids, if they elude from police or drive in a reckless manner, that can be criminal. And whether it's reckless or even these civil penalties of not having a license to ride these, law enforcement can take your e-bike and impound it. So then it's going to cost a lot of money to get it out of a tow yard, right? And it can be storage fees every day on top of that if you don't get it in a timely manner. So those are some of the consequences for you.
Right. And reckless can be speed,
wheelies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having a passenger on there, cutting cars off, lane travel, anything that's you could articulate as the willful and wanton disregard for the safety of yourself or others.
Okay. So what is the strangest reason or excuse or justification that you've got from somebody committing a traffic violation?
There's been a lot, but probably the strangest or silliest, whatever you want to call it, grossest, is I have diarrhea and I really need to get to the bathroom. And I'm like, well, I appreciate you being honest. So that's probably one of the weirdest, sickest, craziest things. I don't really get, I'm late for homework, or I did get a silly one the other day of a kid's dog needed to be let out for a walk. And they were driving 16 miles per hour over the limit in a residential area. So
60 over.
16, sorry,
16,
16.
okay,
Yep. So
yeah.
they were driving, I think, 41 and a 25. And they had to get home and let their dog out to go for a walk. And I let them know that's not an emergency. And even if it was, like, no. So.
Yeah. Something that we see in this that made me think of it. A lot of times, we'll post on our social media of, speed enforcement or excessive speed.
Yeah.
And the comments a lot of times kind of go a route of why did we issue a ticket versus make an arrest on like reckless driving or that sort of thing. Can you kind of speak to what factors into those decisions and why an officer might make a decision one way or the other? Sure.
Yeah. So there's a lot of factors involved. One of them, we do have our own jail in Issaquah, and sometimes it reaches capacity where, it's not just unlimited bookings in it. So sometimes there's a factor of, hey, there's only maybe a couple more people that we can book. The person's been cooperative when we stop them, even if they were driving recklessly and criminally, right? We have the option and discretion to say, hey, listen, I'm cutting you a break by not taking you to jail, but you're going to have a court date in a couple of weeks to go see the judge and explain your side of the story of what happened and kind of go from there, okay? So sometimes that's a factor. Sometimes there may be medical issues. That's another reason why they might not be booked into our jail is we don't necessarily have a 24/7 provider in our jail for medical care. So if they have a really, really bad abscess or infection in their leg or something that would consider them going to the hospital, we do have a human element to us where we do care about people's well-being. And so, hey, like I stopped you for this, maybe I'll cut you a break, write you a ticket, but let's get you an ambulance and let's get you to the hospital because that's more important, right? Or if they're pregnant and they're very close to delivery, right? Or if they've had complications, if they're elderly, there's a lot of different factors on health of people, factors, circumstances they have. Hey, childcare. My kids are at home right now, and if I go to jail, there's no one else that can look after my kids. I don't have any in a family. There's no one that can look into them. There's stuff like that, right? That we will not necessarily book someone into the jail, and we will work with them depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, because ultimately it's just about changing behavior
Exactly.
and into safe behavior. And,
Absolutely.
sometimes tickets are appropriate. Sometimes an arrest is appropriate. It all kind of a case-by-case basis, right?
Exactly. There's so many different factors, and those are a few of them. There's even more, right? So an officer will take those in consideration. Yes, the attitude and cooperation of the person, if we felt like they got it, if they've had several reckless drivings before and they're getting another one, maybe they're not getting it and they need to go to jail, right? So there's a lot of different factors involved, and that's why we have discretion as officers to be like, I think this seems like the best route or course of action for this individual.
Gotcha. So how does someone report speeding cars in their neighborhood or abandoned vehicles in their neighborhood or that sort of thing for you to come check on?
Traditionally in the past, it's always been just call 911, right? Or if you know the non-emergency number to your local precinct, call that in, right? And hey, this car's been here, or I've got speeding issues. I'd like an officer to call me. That is still obviously a way to do it, but we also have online platforms now where people, if they just don't want to have to speak to an officer, everyone has different comfort levels. If they want to be just, you know what, I want the police to know about it, but I don't really feel like talking to somebody or feel like having an officer come out to my house, I can go on to the City of Issaquah website and just say, hey, there's constant speeding issues on this neighborhood. Can you please look at it? It's maybe between 3 and 5 commuter hours. I, as the traffic officer, it's another one of my responsibilities. I manage that program, so I will get that and I can look at that and be like, okay, I will add that now to my daily emphasis. Sometimes if they want to leave an email or a phone number, I can call and get clarifying things, but they can even be on there anonymous. Even if they call 911, they can be anonymous, and we will take that, do the best we can with the information we have, and go give emphasis to it and look at it.
Gotcha. And so that would be See, Click, Fix on the city website?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So how has your perspective on traffic safety changed while being in this role?
Well, I mean, just, opening my eyes to seeing that speed is always kind of been a problem, but I would say that it, like a lot of things, has gotten progressively worse. I think everyone can attest to living on the west side, right? We deal with a lot of traffic. We have a lot of people we live in a beautiful area, and a lot of people are consistently moving into our area, whether they live here. We're very much pass through town, right? Because of Issaquah Hobart, I-90 that passed through our city. We're close to Sammamish and other connection cities. We have so many people and remote work has changed. A lot of people have to go back to work now so many days in the office or all the time, like Amazon workers, right, that we're reading in the news about. And so with all that, there's as many cars on the roadways as there's ever been. And I think people, whether they're late for work, they slept in, they forgot their alarm, or they're going to be late for their appointment and they're going to have to cancel, and they've already had to cancel, they're going to get billed more, right? There's so many different excuses out there, and I get it. Some of them are valid to these people. People are just in a hurry more than ever to get everywhere they're going, and speed is just out of control to some degree. I mean, it's just, like I said, it is consistently seeing people 15, 20 or more miles per hour over all the time on every road you come to. It's just, so I'm finding that either I have to give a little bit more leeway, or I have to find the people that are doing it worse because of how bad it is. I could fill my time with stopping every car all day if I wanted to, right? So I have to get a little bit more picky on who are the people really pushing the limits, right? And need the attention a little bit more than others.
Right.
So,
because I think it's important to note here too that you're one person right now.
yes.
That you're the only one in the traffic unit now.
Correct.
And eventually we would like to add more, but currently you're it, and you have a lot of things that you're responsible for.
Yes, I would love to get more help, and eventually, yes, we will see that with our staffing levels continually improving. But yeah, for now, I'm it. So I get it. People are upset, and sometimes they feel like my complaint hasn't gotten. I'm getting them. It's just a matter of spreading the love to the whole city, right? We have a good sized city. There's a lot of problem areas. I tried to do my best to prioritize and get out and show all of them love as I can, but just have patience. If you feel like I'm not getting there, I either have or I will again. It's just, there's so much going on that I try to spread the love everywhere. So,
Yeah. Well, wrapping up, this is your chance. What is the one violation other than speed that just is your pet peeve that just gets you?
oh, I would say not keeping right except to pass, or you'll
yeah.
hear left lane campers. So
Yeah.
if we have multi-lane roads in our state, unless you're passing someone or unless you're letting someone on to merge or making a turn from that far left lane, you should not be in that lane. So please get over, focus on that, and get over and let those faster, because what it does is it has a trickle effect where it gets, and I'm not making excuses for those that get road rage and then drive recklessly and pass on the right and speed off. But I think that if we get better at getting over when we're not passing, then we will allow that faster traffic to pass where they should be passing and not escalating and having people passing recklessly, lane changes without signaling, because I see a lot of that. And like I said, I'm still stopping people for that. But if we all try to do our part and get over when we're not passing or merging or allowing cars to merge, we may cut down on some of that, right? It takes all of us to watch what we're doing, responsible for our own actions. So yes, try to get over, please, if you're not passing.
Yeah, that one gets me too. That, and then people that cut through parking lots to get around red lights.
Yes.
That one, it's so dangerous. People don't think about it.
Yes.
But that one, that's how people get hurt.
Yes, and that's another, we have some miscellaneous kind of rules in our city, right? The city can come up with its own traffic laws, traffic parking regulations, and cutting corners prohibited is, like you just said, is actually a infraction in our city where if you bypass any traffic to cut through a private parking lot, gas stations, the police department parking lot.
I was going to say that one.
You know, and an officer catches you, you can get stopped for that. I know it stinks to stay in traffic, but you just have to plan, give more time. We all have to deal with it together, right? No one's not dealing with it, right? It's just, and think about it too. If you're cutting through, sometimes even escalating that a little extra speed, you got people coming out, getting goodies from the gas station, pumping up their cars with gas, right? Walking around. It's not safe to do that anyways, unless you're there for business. So please stop doing that. Please be safe and just allow for more time. We're all dealing with it together, right? But just, you're going to have to wait for traffic until you can safely move down that road.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Like we mentioned, there's a lot of things on your plate. So I know asking you to take a little bit of time to come in and chat is a big ask. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No, my pleasure. And I hope that a lot of the information, whether it was things that you thought you knew or misnomers, misconceptions, whatever, everyone gained a little bit from this from like, oh, I didn't realize that, or that makes sense. Thank you for what you do. Hopefully it benefits everyone in their own way. So
Great. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you for joining us for another installment of Quah Order. We hope you can join us for National Night Out, and we'll see you on the next episode of Issaquah PD's own podcast, Quah Order.